it is wonderful to come together again. These are precious times. They're also very difficult times. And it is kind of interesting to try to discern what is the best course of action one should take in a time such as this. Well, as Roshi Halifax was pointing out, that we really have to look inside. And the only way to really cure the kinds of things that seem so abhorrent in the big picture is, of course, for every person to work on those very things in themselves. Where am I greedy? Where am I hostile? Where am I willing to go too far if I don't get my own way? And as humanity can work with this in a much broader way, the world does change. In fact, I think someone coined a phrase for it called the butterfly principle, where it's one of the precepts of theory of chaos anyway, is that sometimes very minor things can change the whole world. And sometimes very major things cause the world to stop. And in its stopping, perhaps people can look a little differently about who they are, what they have, their capacities, their talents, their freedoms. You know, it's been a very rugged few years here in the West, certainly in the US, where many people have gone on record listing all the things that are wrong with democracy. It doesn't this, it doesn't that, it's not fair here, it's not fair there, we don't like the representation, people are corrupt, and on and on and on. And this is kind of what happens when things are too good in a society. People start finding everything that's wrong with them. But you know, when you look at the events of the last couple of weeks, democracy is looking pretty good, isn't it? Certainly looking better than autocracy. But the world has changed, and you've all heard me say that we are entering a new age, and mostly I talk about it in terms of spirituality and what this Aquarian age is going to look like and how the energies are shifting that are coming to the planet now, and that's working on people's minds, and some people's working on their bodies as well. And you find one of two things going on and a whole lot of variation on the middle part, but there are those who feel much more comfortable with the new energies. They perhaps are more Aquarian in nature, meaning the cosmic sense, not necessarily the zodiacal sense where, you know, which sign were you born under. That's one piece of it, but that's a very small piece of it. We're talking about the energy that's streaming to Earth from the constellation of Aquarius, and that's quite different than the energy that came to Earth from the constellation Pisces. And so, yes, everything in the world is changing. And often when we talk about this, we talk, or at least I talk, about what it means to enter a new age, a new paradigm. One where there is great potentiality, not only for individual humans, but for a planet making a transition as well. However, we are in the phase of that shift where all the rules are up for grabs. You know, the new energies haven't settled in yet. The old energies, to some people, look pretty good because they at least knew what power was in the prior age. You know, and all that Piscean energy it's a very hierarchical age, wasn't it? You know, the person who is on the top, whether it's a government or an individual human, has all the power. Sort of an apex thing, you know, when one at the top has all the power and those furthest from the top do all the scrambling. Often, certainly this was true of this country. This country, however you see it, good or bad, still the system was built, the economic structure, everything was built on the broken backs of struggling immigrants. And this is true of, well, early days. Most of the immigrants were Caucasian, they were from Europe. When the Italians came here, they were discriminated against. When the Irish came here, or whether the Germans came here, it didn't matter. They were seen as foreigners, and basically they were put to the bottom of the list. And this is kind of a thing that humans do. It's been particularly, I think, difficult in the West.